The ick. You've probably heard about it. It's quite a trending term at the moment, so I thought I'd take a minute to explain it a bit, unpack it a bit, and you may be surprised by what I'm going to tell you about the ick. Because what it really is, what we think it is a point at which your initial attraction to a person flips into a feeling of disgust. The causes are many and various, but once someone gives you the ick, not that they give it to you, all desire is killed. You only want to run away. You cannot ignore the ick despite your better judgment. It's an unconscious gut reaction, picking up something incompatible about the other person. Is this resonating with you? Maybe you got the ick because of a piece of clothing they wore. Maybe you didn't like the color. It was a bright green shirt or flamingo print or something. Or how they ate their food. Maybe you didn't like the way they held their knife and fork, or the way they treated the waiting staff or homeless person. Whatever it was, it can come on very, very quickly and feel like a deal breaker. It raises the question, how can life be so perverse? How can I feel such passion towards someone one minute and then want to run away the next minute? Surely it's them, not me. But is it? Allegedly, the ick comes from Ally McBeal and Sex and the City. These were TV shows in the 70s, 80s, 90s. But I think it started before then. In fact, I'm going to tell you a funny little story. My first job was working in the pet department, and I had to look after the goldfish. And I went home one day and they were fine, and I came in the next morning and a lot of them were just floating on their side dead. So I asked the person that I worked with what happened to them. They had like this flesh-eating bacteria. They said, oh, that's the ick. Yeah. Now, we can get rid of it, but in those days, which was quite a while ago, we didn't know that much about it. But it's actually like a form of sickness. It's actually like a childlike pronunciation of sick, or I feel ick, I feel icky. And it's come to mean that we have gone off something. Or something smells icky and you don't eat it. Or something tastes icky and you don't eat it. But is the ick real? Or is it a lightning rod for dissatisfactions in a relationship that have not yet come to the surface? What if the ick is a projection of our own shame? Through criticism, maybe we tell ourselves the other person is childish, unsophisticated, and without style, because that's what we are aware of in ourselves and cannot bear it. What if it's a form of hypervigilance around embarrassment, because those are the things we are struggling with, and they are mirroring what we are most afraid to show, such as not fitting in, clumsiness, bad taste, and feeling inferior. Just a thought. The ick mostly shows up in the early stages of a relationship because that's when we are most vigilant, scanning for flaws, red flags in our partner, second-guessing the criticism of our peers. And social media doesn't help, as it shines a spotlight on the concerns we have around appearance and what the world thinks of us and the person we're with, and how imperfect we really are, and how imperfect they really are. But this is the good news. You can definitely get over the ick because it's coming from you, me, not them. The medicine is not always easy to take because, as I said earlier, it's a childish form of being sick. It's baby talk, suggesting a childlike engagement with an adult in an adult relationship. So instead of treating an unexpected revulsion as a deal breaker, we could get curious, one of my favorite words, about it. What do we feel in that moment when we feel the ick? Is this a familiar feeling? Is there embarrassment, shame, anger? You can ask yourself, is this the first time I felt like this? And I'm pretty sure the answer would be, no, it's not the first time you felt like this. You felt this many times before. So is this about the person in the moment, or is this an old wound? I believe it's an old wound. An unhealed, unresolved wound. So what is it telling us about ourselves? And what is it going to serve to help us understand what our story is? Think about that one for a moment. Why is it showing up? What message does it have for us? Give up? It's unhealed, low self-worth and low self-esteem. I'm sure you're not surprised by that. So no one gives you the ick. No one creates the ick. You do it to yourself. It is your stuck younger self, your smallness, your perceived smallness, your feeling of not being good enough. We all do it, but not all of us act on it as if it's the end of something, the end of a relationship, a deal breaker. That's it, I'm out, never want to see him again, never want to see her again. Can't bear the way they eat or the clothes they wear. But with curiosity, it could be the beginning of something, the beginning of self-awareness, self-healing, and self-compassion. Disappointment is a condition of being alive, and not a small one either. And when you like somebody and you are willing to accept, I should say, when they're willing to accept your craziness, imperfections, and icky things that you do, and we're willing to accept their craziness, their imperfections, and the icky things that we do, and you really like them, then cherish that flame and keep it burning as long as you can. So here's my advice, take it or leave it. Treat an ick as a crossroads in the relationship. You can turn right and keep looking for Paul or Patty Perfect, or you can turn towards intimacy. Love of perfection is no love at all. So turning towards real intimacy, as terrifying as it might be, and to be with an imperfect human, accepting that attraction waxes and wanes like the moon. Think about that one, because perfect love does not exist. We are all imperfectly perfect, and sometimes we all lack courage. Occasionally we fail and have weird and wonderful tics that only we understand, and so do they. So that's it. That's the ick. We've just turned it on its head, because so many of us walk around believing that it's them and not us. But as all the things that I talk about, start with self-healing, start with curiosity about self, start with, what do I feel in this moment? When have I felt this before? Is this familiar? Where does this come from? And I trust you, and I believe in this, that it will always go back to personality adaptations with our younger self, where we got stuck. And this is all about freedom, freeing those unstuck parts of ourselves, inviting them into our present and not living in our past. I hope this short video has helped you to understand a little bit more about the ick and helped you to not run away from it. Be with it, be curious, and most importantly, be with self, and begin to heal those wounds so that when you next feel the ick, it won't bother you. It'll just pass you by. And you might even smile, realizing that you may create the ick for other people to feel as well. Thank you very much for going on this journey with me today. Stay safe and beware of the ick and its meaning.